hot are guys at Harvard? Who's asking? You're always going to find people you love and hate. Movies में जैसे house parties वगैरह होते हैं, few cockroaches and rats. This question cracks me up. Hi everyone, my name is Avanti and I'd requested you all to send in questions about Harvard, college life in the US, जो भी पूछना था, and you sent in a lot of questions via Instagram, so I'm going to try and attempt to answer some of them. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will try my best to get to them in another video. Do we get to make friends there, or do people still look at color, nationality, and other markers? This is such a wholesome question to start with. Thank you for asking this. One of the things I loved the most about my experience at Harvard was that in those few years, I got to be in what I like to call concentrated diversity. What I mean by that was in just our campus, we had people from different religions, nationalities, socioeconomic classes, faiths, just you name it, different cultures, different backgrounds, and that was beautiful. Not everybody takes advantage of that. And a lot of people, मैं देखती हूँ ज़्यादातर जो यहाँ से आते हैं, they tend to go abroad and they stick to only hanging out with Indians. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you are in another country, I would really, really encourage you to make friends with people from different backgrounds. Some of my best friends right now live in Iraq, Israel, the US, Europe, are from, pretty much every faith you can imagine. I see that even यहाँ पे जब लोग IIT में जाते हैं या जो भी college में जाते हैं, there's people who come from very different backgrounds, and if you just stick to your kind, you're really missing out on a huge opportunity. So no matter where you go to college, my biggest request to you would be please, please, please invest the time in getting to know people who are very different from you. It'll open your mind and it'll be such a beautiful experience. In terms of do you face racism and, discrimination, at Harvard I felt very lucky not to do that. I know that there are some colleges that you might feel that. And that's hard, but more and more people are becoming more accepting and open, and the more open you are to sharing, the more open you'll find other people. No matter where in life, you're always going to find people you love and hate, so it's just finding a group for yourself that people love. How was it initially staying away from your parents and studying? That's a great question, and I can imagine probably a concern for a lot of people. It's not easy to stay alone. Even if you are, you have roommates and you're surrounded by people, it can feel lonely if you're used to being with family. और हमारे लिए जो Indians हैं, हमारे लिए family बहुत important है. But it's a really beautiful growing experience, and I would really encourage you to just make the most of it. I definitely got a little bit homesick a few times, but I would keep in touch with my parents really often. I also made sure that I would find traditions that were meaningful to me, that reminded me of home, whether that was getting some Indian food or whether that was visiting, a temple or a place like that, or even just talking to friends from back home. It's important to balance both the place you're in and the new experience you have and your roots. The next question, what is hostel life like? So US में उनको hostel नहीं बुलाते हैं, they call it dorms. And different dorms are different. So at Harvard, as a freshman, you all live in the main Harvard yard and you are assigned a dorm. It can be anywhere from single occupancy to 6 people in a room. I had a single occupancy room, but we had a shared hall bathroom. I was very grateful to have that because I like my own space, but there's some people who've loved having multiple roommates, and you get assigned that, so you don't really have a choice. Then after your first year, for your second, third, and fourth year, you can choose up to 7 people, between 1 and 7 people to block with, which is share a space with. And it just means that you will all be assigned the same house. When I say house, there's 12 undergraduate houses. They are like mini colleges within the bigger college, and each house has its own dining hall, library, and a couple other places. So I lived in a house called Adam's House, which had about 300 students, and I blocked with 7 other people, so we had an 8-person blocking group, and I ended up rooming with one of them. The other people were in 2-3 buildings close by. It's a nice way of having a smaller community within a larger community. And the beauty at Harvard is that you are guaranteed housing for all 4 years. Many colleges don't have that. There's some colleges where you're not guaranteed housing, so often people will get apartments or other kinds of housing close by. but there's a lot of options. I would say the hostels are not amazing. They're okay, honest opinion. I got really lucky with some of my housing and my roommates, honestly, but it is what you make of it. Sometimes you will have not fun experiences. I've definitely had a few cockroaches and rats, which we've had to deal with, but that's okay, it's just life and it comes with living in a city. So yeah, hostel life is cool though. How much respect do you get as a Harvard grad? That's a great question. I think some of these schools, whether it's, Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Yale in the US, or any of the top schools, या यहाँ पे इंडिया में, whether you go to IIT, IIM, etc., there's a brand name associated with it, which makes a huge difference. जब लोग कहते हैं कि मैं हार्वर्ड गया या मैं IIT गया, it makes a huge difference when you're searching for employment because they associate that with something. That being said, you can very easily go to any of these schools and not take advantage of them. A lot of people thinking, मुझे मिल गया admission, so now I'm set for life. You'll have the brand name, but if you don't take advantage of all the opportunities there are, then you'll really be missing out. The beauty of these places is not just in the name. सिर्फ नाम का नहीं है. The beauty is really in the people. And I don't mean that in a cliched sense. I have some of the most incredible mentors, teachers, guides that I've met at Harvard. I have some of the most incredible friends that I've made. These experiences, and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Movies में जैसे house parties वगैरह होते हैं, जैसे Netflix में दिखाते हैं, वो सही है? What a great question. It's not always like that. It can be, it cannot be. I think there's social experiences for everybody, depending on the college you go to. Harvard is less of a party school. There's some schools that are more, these bigger parties that they show on TV. But you can make your social experience whatever you want to make it. There's another question that somebody asked saying, is it necessary to go to parties? I am not a huge party person. I instead would throw smaller gatherings with friends, often in the daytime, because parties were not my thing, and that's okay. You can socialize in any way you want. One of the things I love about a place like Harvard is that there's friends for everybody. You can, there's a social experience for everybody. If you're somebody who likes hanging out one-on-one, you can do that. If you like going to big parties, you can do that. If you like in small groups, you can do that. There's space and place for everybody. It's just what you make of it. If you go to college in the US, do not feel the pressure to have to go to parties or drink or do drugs or any of this stuff if it makes you uncomfortable. If you are somebody who wants to experience parts of that life, that's okay. I mean, no judgment, just please be careful, please be safe. And you can comfortably go through college without doing it. I don't drink, I don't do anything else, and I still had an amazing college experience. How was your first day in college? That's such a great question. No one's asked me that before. My first day was really good, but really overwhelming. So a lot of students have their parents help them move in. My parents were not able to make it for move-in day. They were coming a few weeks later. So I showed up, and one of my aunts lives in the US, so she'd come to help me settle in. And I remember walking in with my suitcases and going to my dorm and meeting the people. They were just so friendly and so kind, and they all helped me move my stuff up and in, and it was definitely overwhelming. You're seeing so many new faces and you don't know anyone, but I'm pretty extroverted, so I was very excited to meet new people. Even for somebody who doesn't feel as extroverted, just the beauty of being in a new place is amazing. Now, of course, abhi corona ka samay hai, and a lot of people will be starting college meeting people online, which is difficult and hard, but it's still new people all the same. So I'd encourage you, if you're starting college or if you're thinking about it, there's still ways to make meaningful connections online. This question cracks me up, sorry. How hot are guys at Harvard? Who's asking? No, I'm kidding. There are definitely hot guys. There are also, there's a whole range. I think beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, and I say that with all meaning. Who you might consider hot might not honestly be who I consider hot. I can actually guarantee you that that's the case. But there's options for everybody, and that's the cool part. There are people who are incredibly attractive and beautiful, and then you meet them and you're like, okay, only your body and your faces, your mind and your heart really aren't. And then there's people you meet that have everything, or that are just really beautiful, kind souls from inside. So you do you. Do they celebrate festivals? That's such a great question. They do, but it's not necessarily university-wide. There's often student groups that celebrate festivals. So at Harvard, they celebrate Holi, they celebrate Diwali. Sometimes there's Ganesh Puja or Janmashtami also. It's cool to see. And there's other holidays. I've definitely celebrated some Muslim holidays, Eid with my friends. I've celebrated Jewish holidays, Christian holidays. It's cool. And there are smaller pockets of people that celebrate across campus, so you can go to a cultural student group or a religious student group. It's cool. And I love being able to take part in all of these different festivities, even for cultures I'm not a part of, because you really learn a lot. Have you met Steven Pinker? For those of you who don't know, Steven Pinker is a world-class psychologist. I have actually. I had the opportunity to take a class with him, but I decided to take that with another professor whose teaching I liked more. But Steven Pinker was a guest lecturer in some of my classes, and I've met him a couple times. He's cool. He's a cool guy. How is the environment of the college? I think you mean general social environment, but I'm going to answer in two ways. At Harvard or any college in the Northeast, you have to be comfortable with being very cold because it's all 4 seasons, and you join in the fall where it's nice weather, but then it gets really cold really fast and there's a lot of snow. So you have to be prepared for that. And the spring is cool. Depending on where in the US you go to college, you'll have different forms of the seasons, but just be careful to pack enough clothes for that, or make sure you get a really, really good jacket, basically, if you're in a cold place. Generally, the environment, politically, socially, was very open and welcoming. There's, of course, you're going to have disagreements with some people, but in general, it was pretty open, welcoming, warm, and you could find your people and your tribe, which is the most important thing, according to me. Okay, way too many questions for one video, so if you want a part 2, please comment below saying part 2, and I will be sure to put it out soon. Please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. If you enjoyed this video, let me know what else you would like to see. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.